All right, so let's jump into this deep dive. We got some really interesting audio today.
Yeah, it's pretty philosophical.
Definitely.
Right.
And the speaker's really grappling with some big questions.
Yeah, like about life and ancestry and their place in the world.
It sounds like they're almost feeling let down by their ancestors in a way.
Yeah, you could say that. It's like they feel their ancestors made the wrong choice.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
Well, they talk about this idea of like a battle at the beginning of the universe.
A battle at the beginning of the universe.
Yeah, it sounds kind of wild, but they're talking about this clash between like natalists
Okay.
and antinatalists.
Like people who believe in having children versus those who don't.
Exactly. And they feel like their ancestors sided with the natalists.
And that kind of set them on a path they didn't choose.
Right. They actually say their ancestors dropped the ball by choosing to have kids.
Wow. I mean, that's a pretty intense way to think about it.
Yeah. It's like they feel their very existence is the result of some cosmic mistake.
That's got to be a heavy burden to carry.
For sure. But what's interesting is they're not just dwelling on this feeling of being let down.
So what are they doing about it?
Well, they're trying to find ways to like rectify the situation.
Okay, so what does that look like?
They talk about setting up a family office and creating a trading desk.
It's almost like they're trying to take control of their own destiny in a way.
Yeah, like they're saying, okay, you messed up, but I'm going to fix it.
It's definitely a resilient way to respond to that kind of feeling.
And there's another layer to this, too.
What's that?
They connect these feelings of abandonment to their family history.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, they talk about their mother and her lineage and the struggles they faced.
With things like colonialism and racism.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're drawing a line from the past to the present.
Showing how these historical forces have impacted their own life.
They even say they wish their ancestors had picked a side.
Which makes you wonder what side they're talking about.
Right. Like, were they supposed to choose a side in this cosmic battle at the beginning of time?
That's a really thought-provoking question.
And it ties into this whole idea of technical linguistic debt.
Technical linguistic debt. What is that?
It's like they feel burdened by the language and concepts they've inherited.
Almost like they need a new way to express their experience.
Exactly. And that feeling of inadequacy contributes to their sense of loneliness and isolation.
It's like they're searching for a language that can truly capture their unique perspective.
And for a community that can understand and share that perspective.
A community where they don't feel so alone in their beliefs.
Exactly. A soul family, as they call it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
It's like they're on this journey without a map or a guide.
Yeah, they describe themselves as a first mover.
And you can tell it's a lonely experience.
Especially with these big ideas they're wrestling with.
It's like they're trying to find their way in this world that doesn't quite understand them.
And maybe that's what drives their desire to create this soul family.
Right. Like they're saying, if I can't find it, I'll build it myself.
It's a powerful statement.
It shows a lot of resilience.
And a desire to connect with others who get it.
Who understand this feeling of being burdened by technical linguistic debt.
Speaking of technical linguistic debt, have you ever come across that concept before?
Not in those exact words. But the idea behind it definitely rings a bell.
How so?
Well, think about it. People have always struggled to articulate their experiences.
Especially when those experiences don't fit the mold.
Exactly. And the speaker here is basically saying that the language we have isn't enough.
It can't fully capture the complexities of their situation.
And that's a valid point.
It makes you wonder what a world would look like if everyone had the words to truly express themselves.
It's a beautiful thought.
Maybe it would be a world with less misunderstanding,
Less conflict.
less loneliness.
It's possible.
And it seems like that's what the speaker is ultimately striving for.
A world where they feel seen, heard, and understood.
Where their unique perspective is valued.
And where they can connect with others on a deeper level.
It's a beautiful aspiration.
You know, it's interesting how they connect this need for connection to things like setting up a trading desk.
Yeah, like a very practical action.
Almost like a tangible way to create community or impact the world.
Makes sense, I guess. When you're wrestling with these big existential questions, sometimes you need to ground yourself in something concrete.
Exactly. It's like they're channeling this philosophical anxiety into something productive.
So do you think that's a common response to like existential unease? This need to build or create?
I think so. When people feel overwhelmed by the big questions, sometimes they find comfort in tangible activities.
Makes sense. I can see that.
It gives you a sense of purpose and control, you know.
Right, like imposing order on a world that can feel chaotic.
And I think for this speaker, it's not just about creating order for themselves.
It's about legacy, too.
Yeah. They feel burdened by their ancestors' choices, so they want to make choices that will have a positive impact.
On future generations.
Exactly. It's like breaking the cycle.
But starting from scratch.
Which is a daunting task.
And that's why this yearning for a soul family is so important.
They know they can't do it alone.
They need that support and understanding.
To build something new.
It's like they're saying, I might be a first mover, but I don't want to be the only one on this path.
It's a powerful message.
We all need that sense of belonging.
That tribe.
Where we feel seen and heard.
And sometimes you have to create that tribe yourself.
It takes courage.
But it can also be incredibly rewarding.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the speaker's world, I want to leave you with this thought. We've all got this baggage from the past, right? These inherited burdens and choices that shape who we are.
It's true.
But we also have the power to choose our own path, to create our own meaning, and to build a future that's aligned with our values.
It's a beautiful thought.
And even if we don't share the speaker's specific belief, we can learn from their willingness to question things.
To search for a more authentic way of being.
And to connect with others who share that search.
So to everyone listening, we hope this conversation has given you some food for thought.
And maybe even a little bit of hope.